Today I want to be 100% transparent with you about why I have not promoted Paraguayan real estate more often, particularly properties in the more prominent neighborhoods of Asuncion. I'm going to walk you through the decision behind me delaying the promotion of certain neighborhoods in Asuncion, Paraguay. And if you stay until the end of the video, I'm going to reveal one of the best places to invest in Paraguay this very year and in the coming years. While Paraguay is an attractive destination for entrepreneurs, retirees, and digital nomads, there are some things that you have to know about the local real estate market before you should invest in Paraguay. As we know, Paraguay is known for its territorial tax system, easy second residence permit, low minimum stay requirements, and so much more positive that attracts thousands and thousands of Western expats to the region. It is true that Paraguay has been on an uptrend recently. This uptrend started during the past health crisis, where thousands and thousands of German nationals fled to Paraguay to escape restrictions and mandates. This is a fact. Likewise, citizens of the beautiful country of Argentina made Paraguay their new home over the past number of years. Since 2018, Argentina entered a vicious downward spiral of hyperinflation that has yet to slow down. Argentines and Germans have significantly contributed to the real estate bubble in Asuncion, Paraguay. While the entire country of Paraguay is not in a real estate bubble, certain neighborhoods of Asuncion, Paraguay are in a definite real estate bubble that could burst very, very soon. As always, supply and demand drive real estate prices more than anything. Given the terrain Asuncion is located at, there is really no shortage of properties in this market, and there's no shortage of land, and Paraguay is not exactly hilly, right? I mean, there are some hills, but it's not rough terrain for a real estate market to experience shortages of properties. And because of this fact, it is only a matter of time until the real estate bubble bursts in certain neighborhoods of Asuncion, including Villamora and Recoleta. I wanted to make an important note about the Paraguayan real estate market, or should I say more specifically, the real estate market in Asuncion, the capital of Paraguay. You need to understand that this real estate market is very polarized. What do I mean by that? Foreigners want to invest in certain neighborhoods and cities only. This is not the United States. This is not Canada. This is not the European Union. In an emerging country like Paraguay, you have to consider so much more than you do back home. Electricity and water supply are two of the most important components that you have to work into your decision-making process before you commit to any real estate investment in Paraguay. If you're watching this video with the intention to make a good deal when you invest in Paraguayan real estate, you obviously want to buy low and sell high. As the saying goes, you make money in real estate when you buy and not when you sell your property. I think this has held true in so many cases, in so many different countries. While it is not impossible to make money on a bad purchase, it puts you in a very difficult situation where you potentially have to wait years or even decades to make a profit out of it. And you also have to consider inflation. It's not enough to just make 2 to 3% on your investment annually. That is nothing. It's just not worth it. It's not enough. Ideally, you want to make 10% or more annually. If you can get to the 10% mark or even exceed it, that's when you can make real money in emerging countries. What is wrong with the real estate market in Asuncion? Well, technically, there's nothing wrong. I mean, if you want to buy real estate and you want to use it as your primary residence, or you don't particularly care about how much money you would make from your investment, you can buy real estate anywhere and at any price. However, if you are among those who desire a return on investment, there are more things that you have to work into the equation. Paraguayan real estate can be very profitable. The statistics say that if you had bought real estate 7 years ago in the fancier neighborhoods in Asuncion, Paraguay, you would have accomplished a phenomenal return on your investment. However, the Paraguayan real estate market is changing as certain neighborhoods are becoming just more difficult to invest in because the prices are just out of reach for a lot of middle class people. I mean, who wants to pay $2,000 to $3,000 per square meter in an emerging country? I'm not saying that you're not going to get your money back, but if the bubble bursts and if prices were to tank by as much as 30%, it could take more than 10 years for you to recoup your money. And the real estate market in Asuncion, Paraguay is at an all-time high. And guess what? I personally wouldn't recommend you to buy anywhere with prices this high. And it's not just about that. And in fact, there's a good chance that the market would go even higher from here. However, it's kind of like going to the casino and doubling up. It's a big risk. If you're into calculated risks, this is what I'm into. Pay very close attention to what I'm going to tell you in the coming minutes, where I'm going to disclose an upcoming area with much lower real estate prices than in the fancier neighborhoods of Asuncion, Paraguay. Because I believe we are about to see a second wave of buyers that could potentially be even bigger than what we had seen during the past health crisis. This is my personal opinion, and nothing in this video should be taken as investment advice. While I'm personally invested in residential real estate, I don't know it all. This is what I'm seeing from my personal analysis from people who I know who invest in real estate in Paraguay, and I want to pass this information on to you so that you can make the best decisions possible. I believe one of the best alternatives to Asuncion is Luque, a city located east of Asuncion. It has the right proximity to still be interesting to expats living in the Asuncion metro. And the close proximity to Asuncion's airport is definitely very valuable. And if you were to take a taxi or an Uber from Luque to Asuncion, you're looking at anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes. That's all it takes, right? So you're still within the sweet vicinity where you can have access to all the modern amenities, right? The infrastructure that Asuncion offers. And there's no city that offers the same amount and the same quality of amenities, shopping malls, conveniences as you can obtain in Asuncion. Not in Encarnacion, not in Ciudad del Este, nowhere. Only in Asuncion. Asuncion is also home to the most international schools in Paraguay. So yes, from networking opportunities to modern conveniences, Luque has it. Right? The shopping mall in Luque is smaller than the shopping malls in Asuncion, but there's still enough meat on the bone for a Westerner to consider living in a less prominent city in Asuncion. What I like about Luque is the amount of new developments that are happening there. And the price per square meter is very reasonable, and we're going to get to this here in a moment. I think you can get an amazing deal or amazing deals in Luque, while some of the deals that you see in Asuncion are overpriced, and this is just my opinion. I personally wouldn't pay $3,000 per square meter for an apartment in Paraguay. I wouldn't do it. I'd pay anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 per square meter. If you can pay a little bit less than $1,000 and be in a good neighborhood, new building, then that's even better. But if you can pay anywhere between $1,000 to $2,000 per square meters, then that's pretty good. So I found you a couple of deals, okay? All new buildings, new condominium buildings with barbecue area, pool, gym, and some other modern amenities that a Western expat like an American or Canadian would want. For a 45 square meter, one bedroom apartment, you could pay as little as $50,000 to $55,000, which comes down to about $1,200 per square meter. This is not bad at all, considering that you're buying into a brand new building. That's not a bad deal at all. there are plenty of one-bedroom units available. You're looking at 40 square meters, that's the smallest, which is about 430 square foot. And the price starts at anywhere, between 45,000 to 50,000. And of course, the nicer the condominium building, the more you pay. However, the price per square meter is significantly lower than what you are offered in the fancier neighborhoods of Asuncion, like Villamora and Recoleta. I saw this apartment, 70 square meters, for $80,500, which comes down to $1,150 per square meter. And again, this is a brand new building, and you'd be the first person to live in your apartment. Here's the thing, you can find much cheaper deals than the ones that I just mentioned. In fact, you can find places that offer maybe even better value if you don't value the proximity to the city and modern amenities, shopping malls. If that's not important to you and you want to live in the countryside, you can pay a lot less per square meter. But if you want that tight proximity to Asuncion, the airport, the shopping malls, hospitals, private schools, networking opportunities, and more, you're looking at a really decent deal where you pay anywhere from $1,000 to maybe $1,300 per square meter. And again, it's a new building, and some of these buildings were just finished recently, meaning this year. And the reason why I mentioned Luque is because in terms of infrastructure, just the roads that you'd use to go from Luque to Asuncion, they're decent. There are other cities that are part of Asuncion's metro that would be harder to get to from Asuncion because the roads are just not that good. Let's do some math here. Let's say you would spend how much? $80,000 on a 70 square meter apartment. You live in Luque for half of the year, 6 months. You stay here during maybe the cooler season. You come here in May and you leave in October or November. So you get to enjoy the best time that Paraguay offers, where the weather is decent, not too hot, and you would live rent-free for half of the year, and the other half of the year you would have some passive income. Now, how much could the 70 square meter apartment for $80,000 make you during those 6 months? Given the current Airbnb rental prices, I think you could make anywhere from $600 to $1,200 to $1,300 monthly. It's possible to make more. However, it's important that you spend some money on furnishing the place to make it attractive to a person that has the right budget. So it's very important to know your customer. It's the same in any business, including apartment rentals. You have to know your customer and you have to know what your customer values. And it's worth spending a little bit more money to attract customers that are willing to pay more than to save, let's say, a few $1,000s on renovating the place. I mean, not renovating, but just furnishing the place, and you would get less money in monthly. And of course, you have taxes. Even though taxes are low in Paraguay, you have maintenance costs, you have utility costs, right? So typically anywhere from 30 to 50% of the monthly rent that you collect gets lost in expenses, fees, taxes, all that kind of stuff. However, you could collect a few $1,000s a year in net profit by renting out your apartment for half of the year while you're not there. So the apartment's not empty. Oftentimes an empty apartment is not good for a number of reasons. And the other half of the year, you could live in the apartment yourself. So you have like a second home. Or if you want the apartment to be a primary home, that's perfectly fine. I'm just giving you options here. Plus, what we haven't even considered is the possibility of property appreciation, which is definitely present. Let's say your property appreciates anywhere from 3 to 10% a year. I think 10% is being optimistic, overly optimistic in many cases, even though I personally bought an apartment last year that appreciated over 50% in value in just 18 months. Is this normal? Is this a typical result? No. So I don't want to plant the wrong thought in your head and give you unrealistic expectation. That's not my goal, but I'm just telling you that an appreciation of 3 to 10% annually is normal. It's very realistic, right? And if you can get to 10%, fantastic. And that's why I recommend you to buy into lesser known neighborhoods that have the right potential and the right risk reward ratio. It's all about that. It's about taking calculated risk and placing your bets intelligently. I wanted to make a quick note about residency in Paraguay. You should get residency before purchasing real estate in Paraguay. I'm making this bold claim here that you should never invest in any real estate market unless you are a resident. That holds true for residential real estate. And there are a number of reasons behind my bold statement. First of all, as we had seen during the past health crisis, nationals of certain countries, or most countries, were refused admission into certain countries that had very strict entry requirements during the past health crisis. Now, Paraguay was different, was more open, was more relaxed, especially when it comes to legal residents of Paraguay. This is a very important point to focus on. I know people who own real estate in Asia, who were blocked out of Asia because they could not get back in. The countries had very strict entry requirements in place where even residents were not allowed to enter during the past health crisis. Now, again, Latin America was much more lenient, and some countries in Latin America were more lenient than others. However, overall, Latin America was much more open, and even more so for residents. Of course, this is just one reason. Another reason is that being a resident of a country gives you more rights. And this is not just about entering the country during an emergency situation. It is also about everyday rights that you get. Whereas a tourist always has limited rights. As a resident, especially as a legal permanent resident, you have so many more rights and privileges that a tourist will never have. So in my humble opinion, getting residency is always the first step. Once you have obtained a residency, you can move ahead with purchasing your real estate in Paraguay. Temporary residency in Paraguay can be obtained without proving economic solvency. It's one of the few countries in the entire world that allows you to get residency without showing economic solvency proof. This is very rare, and people don't realize the value of this proposition. Not many countries offer this kind of deal where you are welcomed. And of course, there are always requirements. And in Paraguay's case, the main requirement is for you to have a clean criminal record to get residency. Paraguay does not want criminals to enter the country. And so they're more strict when it comes to the criminal record certificate. They're more strict about it than other countries that require some kind of economic solvency proof to issue temporary or permanent residency. And the good news is once you have temporary residency in Paraguay and you want to convert to permanent residency, they don't even want to see income proof or savings or you making an investment when you convert to permanent residency. They don't need it. So Paraguay is one of the most lenient countries in the entire world. This is a fact. As I've pointed out during the properties we mentioned in Luque, there are some really juicy investment opportunities available that are waiting for you. There are some really good investment opportunities in Paraguay, but you have to know the real estate market, or you have to know someone who knows the real estate market. That's why I highly recommend you to work with us, Nomad Elite, the #1 relocation agency in Paraguay, and hopefully soon in entire South America, where we help you buy real estate intelligently. I want to help you buy real estate and make the money when you buy it, not when you sell it. And how you do it is by finding undervalued real estate or just real estate that is overlooked. Overlooked real estate where people don't think something could happen in that neighborhood. That's where you want to buy. If this sounds good to you and you want to work with us, I highly recommend you to check out our offer. We're going to be launching a real estate investment tour, and there's going to be a package where you can get residency in Paraguay and also purchase real estate and work with us right here in Paraguay. Book a consultation with us. We really look forward to helping you, first of all, get residency in Paraguay, and secondly, purchase great real estate here. Thank you so much for watching Nomad Elite. We truly appreciate you, and we see you in the next video. and soon in Paraguay.